Hey, what is going on, Millennial Nation worldwide? I am the OG Millennial, and we are about to go on a little Millennial Moment trip to the past where we're going to dip back to 1996. And with basketball season happening right now and it being the beginning of the playoffs, I figure what basketball team was the biggest and best basketball team considered in 1996? I would have to say probably Chicago Bulls, with a lineup starring none other than Scottie Pippen, Tony Kukoc, right? We got head coach Phil Jackson, uh, some some bench players. We got Steve Kerr, right, coming off the bench. They had, I should say, rather, Dennis Rodman, John Sally, and I'm saving the best for last, of course. Michael Jordan, 1996. They were setting records in 96 and winning championships big time, man. And I just got to give them credit. And one of their big games that they had back in 96 was against the Pistons. And no, it was against Washington, right? The Washington Bullets, that's right. Back in 1996, the Chicago Bulls went against the Washington Bullets, and they did a single season record. The milestone solidified their 72-10 record as a hallmark of their dominant 1995-1996 championship season, of course, led by Michael Jordan. Yeah. And there were a whole cast of people on the squad, like I mentioned earlier, that were right there along with them. I could remember the most, right? Scottie Pippen, probably the best number two that you could have on your squad, especially during the 90s when they were still aggressive, right? Another good aggressive player they had, Dennis Rodman, power forward, dominant, snatching boards, right? If you put him on the court, I think today, I think he would have the records for setting rebounds each year, right? Um, and then, of course, you got Kerr, right? Little three-point shooter, Steve Kerr. I think he's coaching the Warriors, right? Like, I think he's the Golden State Warriors head coach right now, and he's a shooter, and he's teaching and coaching one of the best three-point shooters ever, probably, in my opinion, right? And young Stephen Curry. Yeah, I always get him and his brother's name mixed up for some reason, right? Seth and Stephen. Stephen Curry, man, he's great. But right now we're talking about playoffs, and unfortunately, they did not make the playoffs. Right? I'm not seeing, at least I'm not seeing them on the list for the first round here. But before I get into the playoff stuff, because we are going to talk about playoffs, just a brief recap. Here are some other things that happened in 1996. Right? Very interesting enough. Nintendo 64, or wait, no, Nintendo releases Super Mario 64. Right? So they had the Nintendo 64 came out and they had Super Mario 64, which was the 3D version, the first like real 3D animated pop out type of the screen game, which was awesome. And we also had the Olympic Games in Atlanta, Georgia, 1996. Right? So that was big. I remember, I think, what was his name? Michael Johnson, I think was his name, right? He was a track and field runner. He was a track runner, and he was killing it, I believe, in Atlanta. And unfortunately, back in 1996, we lost one of the greatest rappers, in my opinion, of all time, and that is the great Tupac Shakur. May he rest in peace. Las Vegas, passed away on September 13th, 1996. Um, so for me, though, it was a great year. I was starting high school, going into my ninth grade year, starting track and field, and joining my high school fraternity, right? Beta Phi Psi, first high school fraternity founded in Southern California, right? First ninth grader to ever cross over. It was fun. But 96 had some sad moments too, right? And losing Tupac was one of them. The Unabomber had some news too, and but Hotmail, right? I could end it with that, right? Hotmail was hot right at that time, apparently. So I still have a Hotmail account. I'm not ashamed to admit it at all. I don't ever use it, right? And if you've sent me a message in Hotmail over the last, I don't know, 15 years, I have not seen it. It's one of those ones where I forgot the passcode, and then you got to go through so much stuff to create a new passcode because it's so old that it's like, why? But now just to get into a little bit of basketball, right? So um, we are starting the new basketball playoffs. It's very early. It's only been a couple games in the first round, right? We got some games that are actually happening today, right now, currently, this very moment, we got the Magics are playing against the Pistons, right? So um, we got the Orlando Magic going against the Detroit Pistons, and that right now is game two. It's pretty interesting for them because I think they're tied, if I recall. Nope, they're over. So right now, Detroit, they got a one game lead. So it's kind of an important game, right? Pistons probably definitely want to try and not let it get out of hand, right? No, I'm sorry, Orlando, right? Yeah, because they got to make that comeback, right? Boston's tied against the Philadelphia 76ers 1-1. New York Knicks tied. Atlanta Hawks, right? 1-1. Um, so I guess, just to give a brief recap of all of this real quick, we got the Detroit Pistons over the Orlando Magics, one game. Boston Celtics are tied with Philly, 1-1. New York Knicks are tied with the Atlanta Hawks, 1-1. Cleveland Cavs are over the Toronto Raptors, 2-0. Right, so two more games and the Raptors are out of there. And that's for the Eastern Conference, right? For the Western Conference, we got first round. We got Oklahoma City Thunder. They're over the Phoenix Sun, 1-0. Spurs are tied with the Trailblazers, 1-1. Nuggets are tied with the Minnesota Timberwolves, 1-1. And we got the Los Angeles Lakers over the Houston Rockets, right? 2-0 right now, right? So we got a two-game lead over the Rockets. Hopefully, we're able to just shut them out with a four-game series, and we don't have to worry about taking it to like a late game seven. We could finish it early and get some rest. Hopefully, that's, I'm sure, the coach's goal, and I'm sure that's what the coach is preaching to the team, right? So, um, very interested to see this bracket and this lineup because a lot of these teams, I think, in my opinion, defensive teams, right? Like there were some injuries that happened that might have some tolls, right? Might take its toll. There's a lot of news. I didn't want to get into too much of it, but one thing that was important, right? Wembenyama face planted on the court, right? That's solid wood, and knocked himself out. Well, looked like he knocked himself out for a little bit, right? Poor Victor Wembenyama, he was trying to go up, I guess, to the basket for a layup, and someone was guarding him, and they kind of just did the sidestep. And poor Victor Wembanyama, his height, all of his momentum took him straight to the ground. And I saw the highlights, and he face planted. He face planted hard, and he just laid out pretty much. He just laid out. It kind of looked. I don't know if he was playing because it looked like if you were taking a nap on your desk, right? Like the way he laid down, but he made a movement when I saw in the highlight where he tried to get up and then he kind of stumbled back down, right? And so he is in concussion protocol. And normally, concussion protocol, from what I'm familiar with, is at least like a week. So there are a lot of games that can be played within this week, right? So hopefully they could get him back on the court as soon as possible. But LeBron is putting it down for the Lakers right now with Luka Doncic being out with his injury. So keep it going, LeBron. Keep that momentum going, and hopefully we can make a big push. Make a huge push, and then we could be the ones who are seeing OKC in the Western Conference championships, right? The Western Finals. But I was thinking it was gonna be the Spurs, man, because of Wembenyama making it to the finals, right? The Western Conference Finals. But with this injury, right, like so Wemby, if he's out for multiple games, and the Spurs lose this series to Portland, right? It's gonna be a huge difference, right? Because when I look at this list, the next best team I see would be, aside from the Phoenix Suns, the Los Angeles Lakers might be the only teams that could beat OKC, right? Oklahoma City Thunder. But even then, they're not doing it right. And right now, Phoenix is kind of proving it. They're down the first game, right? So we'll see how it all turns out within a week. They'll be in round two. Half of these teams will be gone, and the list will be shorter, and I have more details, right? Time to start watching, right? If you're a part-time fan like I am, where you aren't as dedicated to watching the full seasons of basketball anymore for whatever reasons, for me it's the streaming services. I only watch through streaming services, so whatever's streaming on what I got, and I don't have very many things because they keep raising the price on stuff. But whatever I got it on, I will be watching for sure. And so I'll be giving you better highlights from my own opinion as opposed to just what I'm seeing other people see and speak about on the YouTubes, right? And on the ESPN and the Fox Sports and all these people that I follow that just send me all these things in my algorithm, right? So I'll try and reiterate it to you, my Millennial Nation, and not just millennials, Gen X and Gen Zs too, right? So we're bringing everybody along. Like, comment, subscribe. Could definitely use those likes, comments, and subscribing to Millennial Nation Worldwide, right? I got so many millennial stuff, right? I want to hashtag Millennial Nation and all my millennials and all that good stuff, right? Millennial Nation Worldwide. We got to build this thing up, let it grow, and flourish. Yeah, we're going to let it flourish. And see, with that, I'll come back with some wrestling news later on, right? Probably, WrestleMania happened. Um, our show, technically speaking, is going to be taking a little hiatus, unfortunately. So we won't have as much. I won't have as much content to be sharing with you guys, sadly. But I'll try and make up for it in the long run, right? I'll just get on here and do more stuff myself, and keep it moving. Keep on going with these millennial moments too, man. Let's see. Next time I get on here, we'll flash back to like '86. Oh, I was 4 years old in 1986, right? If you were an OG millennial like me, at the top of the list for the millennial era, yeah, you were born in the '80s. You were an '80s baby. So, Millennial Nation Worldwide, I appreciate you. Y'all have a good night, man. Peace.